Welcome guys, we're about to solve these equations. We're gonna start here and gonna end here. I'll just see if all these things they fit in one page. Let me start with the first one. The first equation, this is an equation because of it has an equals to sign. So let me start with it. It goes like this: 3x squared. X squared minus 4x is equivalent to 0. So this is a function. This is a function. You must get where this function is equal to 0. So I'm gonna have to perform a trick in order to get where this function which depends on x, this function depends on x because of everything here is written in terms of x. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take out x as a common factor because of both here we have x and here we have x on the left hand side of the equation. On the right hand side of the equation we don't have much information, so I'm taking out x. So then inside the brackets I can write 3x minus 4 equal to 0. Because of when you times this and this, they take you back to this one. Because of x times x is equal to x squared. X times 1, because of here there's a 1, or x to the power of 0, which is 1, is equal to this x. Then this is also multiplied to 3, and this is also multiplied to 4. So in order to get this, I'm going to say, you see, x is equal to 0. Like this shows that like x is equivalent, like for me to get a product of this, that makes 0. X time multiplied by this expression, let me call it an expression, by this, 0 times this is equivalent to 0. So I'm gonna say x is equal to 0 here, or 3x minus 4 is also equals to 0, because of this. If this part is equal to 0, multiply to this part, even if it's not equal to 0, we're gonna get a product that adds up, that makes up to 0. So I take out this one to the other side, or I add 4 on both sides. So it's gonna be 3x is equal to 4. Then I say x is equal to 4 divided by 3. So I go back to my my equation. Then I'm gonna first subtract this 0 on here on x. So 3 multiplied by 0 squared minus 4 multiplied by 0 is equivalent to 0. So we see, then after, let's test this one. So this one, let's test it. Let me use another pen to test it to see if this is also making sense, because if I don't find 0, it means that we made a mistake. So it's gonna be 3 multiply, wherever I see x I put this 4 over 3 squared minus 4 over 3, then is equivalent to this over this it's 16 over 9 times 3 minus this times this is also 16. This one is 16 over 3. So this one divided by this one divided by this one, we cannot divide 9 in 3, but then we have a common factor, which is 3. 3 goes into itself once, and it goes here 3 times, so it's going to also be 16 over 3. So minus 16 over 3, so we get 0. That then it shows that it's right. In the exam or whatever that you may be writing, you can use a calculator to get this. We are done with question A. We go to the second one. This one, we are given a condition. They say we must remember that we are solving for x. We are given a condition that like the answer must be correct to 2 decimal places. The moment we see 2 decimal places, it means we cannot get like perfect factors. We cannot get perfect factors. So here we can complete the square, or we can use the quadratic formula in order to get the x. So I prefer, before I do this thing, because of sometimes the x can exist and sometimes the x can the roots can exist, sometimes the roots cannot exist. So I prefer to first get like the discriminant. I say discriminant is equal to b squared minus 4ac. If this thing is less than 0, then it means that we cannot get like the roots. But then if it's equivalent to 0 or greater to 0, then we can get the roots. So b squared here, we are given, okay, let me first write this equation. This equation is 3x squared plus 10x minus 4 is equal to 0. So in the place of b, this is the same as, let me write it in standard form, it's the same as ax squared plus bx minus c. C is constant, is equal to whatever that we are given. If like it can be 4, it can be whatever, but here we are given that it's 0. So in the place of b, I'm going to put 10. 10 squared minus 4. Our a is 3. Then our b, our c is negative 4. So this one is the same as 100 minus 16 times 3. 16 times 3. So we can already see that this is going to amount to something which is greater than 0. It's going to be greater than 0. It's going to be a positive number. It's going to be a positive number. So from now we can go to our quadratic formula. Doing this is not necessary. I'm just doing it because of I must know whether this exists or not. Then for me to get x, according to the quadratic formula, x is equivalent to minus b plus minus b squared minus 4ac in the square in the square root, all divided by 2a. This is, you shouldn't do it in an exam or whatever. I was just doing it so that you see that whatever we are doing is gonna exist. Actually, the roots are real. Let me not say exist, because of existing is not the correct term to use here. It shows that the roots are real here. The roots are real, but they are not equal, because of this is 100 and this is not 100. 16 times 3 is not 100. It's probably 32, 48. It's 48. So it's 100 minus 48. So we see that like it's gonna give us how much? It's gonna give us 48 probably. I'm not good with mental math, but I'm extremely good in it. Minus 10 plus minus 10 squared minus 4ac, all in the square root divided by 2a. Then I can punch this in the calculator and get the x's. Let me drop this video and get a calculator, then I'll continue.